Okay, I'm Emily. We're going to do the Astrian test. I'm going to explain to the patient what the test is. So we're going to work you on the bike for about 6 minutes. The patient is already warmed up for about 2 to 3 minutes. According to ACSM, we're going to work you at 125 watts because you're a conditioned male. And that puts you at about 750 kilopons. At about 2 or 3 minutes within your 6 minutes, I'm gonna take your heart rate and your blood pressure. Your blood pressure, your systolic is supposed to increase. Your diastolic should increase as well, but only within 10-ish millimeters of mercury. If your diastolic decreases, your systolic decreases, or your heart rate decreases, I'm going to stop you because that means nothing's working right.
Okay.
If you feel faint or dizzy or need to get off the bike for any reason, please let me know. After about that 2 to 3 minute mark, if you're within submax range, which is about 60 to 85% of your heart rate max, which was calculated using ACSM equations, you don't want to know about that. Then we're going to continue the test for the next 3 minutes. At minute 5 and minute 6, I'm going to take your heart rate, and we're hoping that it's going to be within about 5 beats per minute, which means you're at a steady state. If so, your test is over and you can start your cool down. So we're going to use the RPE scale. See? And I want you, throughout the test, I want you to use that to let me know of your perceived exertion. It helps me know how you're feeling compared to what your vitals are saying and whether you're in target range or not. The bike was adjusted for his proper hip and knee at about 5 to 10 degrees for his knee, and it comes up to his greater trochanter for his hip. That was before he got on the bike, before he started warming up. And yeah, do you have any questions?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, so we're going to bump you up to 125, and we're going to start the time, and you're going to go for about 2 to 3 minutes. So you know your resting heartbeat is about 78 beats per minute, and your resting blood pressure was 112/80. So, bike for me.
Okay.
And again, let me know how you're feeling. Right now on the RPE scale, how are you feeling?
Very light.
Okay, good. You should be because you haven't done anything yet. So the ACSM equation that was used for his 60 to 85% submax, we used the 220 minus his age, which is 23, to get his heart rate max, which was 197. And then I multiplied that by 60% to get his lower end, which was 118, and then by 85% to get his higher end, which was 167. So I'm hoping for that higher end range because that'll give me a better VO2 calculation. And at the end of the workout, the VO2 calculation is going to come from the ACSM guidelines specific for the Astrian cycle. So it takes in his workload, which will be used, his workload and his heart rate, the steady state heart rate between minute 5 and 6 to calculate his VO2 at the end. How are you doing?
Very good.
Okay. So we're almost at minute 2. I'm going to take his blood pressure to make sure everything's going right. He was at about 125/82. systolic is still increasing. Diastolic is increasing, but not more than 10 millimeters of mercury. I'm gonna take his heart rate. Good, so he's at about 158 beats per minute, which puts him at the higher end of his submax range, which is what we want. So we're gonna continue your test for another 3 minutes. And at about minute 5, I'm gonna take your heart rate, and then again at minute 6. And that'll tell us if we can stop or not.
Okay.
How are you feeling RPE wise?
Somewhat hard.
Okay, good. Dizzy at all?
Feeling good.
Okay. So his heart rate is going up, his systolic is increasing, his diastolic is increasing, and like I said, under 10 millimeters of mercury, so we're doing well. We don't have to stop the test for any abnormal reasons. So we're almost to minute 5. I'm gonna take his heart rate again, and this is where we're gonna compare to make sure he's in steady state. Okay, so we're still doing good. Went up a little bit, but that's okay. We're gonna do it one more time. And we're gonna make sure this time it's compared to the 5-minute heart rate, we're gonna make sure it's within 5 beats per minute, because that means the patient has continued at a steady state heart rate. Are you feeling okay?
Doing good.
Okay. Almost done. RPE wise, how are you feeling?
Somewhat hard.
Good. Okay. So his heart rate was still within 5 beats per minute. It was actually about 162 and 165, so that means he's in steady state, which means you can now cool down for a couple minutes. And at the end of the cool down, I'm going to take his heart rate and his blood pressure to make sure that everything has decreased at the right level. So I'm going to take his blood pressure one more time while he's cooling down to make sure everything's going well, and then that'll conclude our test. Are you feeling okay?
Doing good.
You're still doing good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You are done. So now I'm going to take, like I said, his heart rate, his workload, and I'm going to calculate his VO2 max. And hopefully, because we used we got him up to that higher submax range, that it'll be a more accurate estimate. That's it.